Hey guys, let's talk about where's the best place to get your credit reports if you want to identify all of the errors on negative accounts so that you can present those errors to the credit bureaus. And then either they fix them, they delete the accounts, or you have a basis to sue. Where's the best place? You know, some people love Credit Karma, they love Smart Credit, Identity IQ, even myfico.com. Let me tell you, there's no place that is remotely as good as annualcreditreport.com. It's free to get your credit reports there once a week. Now that's through at least April of this year. I think likely it will be extended pretty much indefinitely. But at least right now, as I'm recording this, you can pull those reports once a week for free. And it's just mission critical to get your real reports, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. You want to go directly to the source, and the source is annualcreditreport.com, and then that takes you to each bureau. But it's different than just typing in Experian.com or TransUnion.com. You want to go through annualcreditreport.com. Get those actual reports, print or save them to PDF. So make sure you know how to do that. It's easier on a computer than using your phone. You can do it with your phone, but just make sure that you know how to do this because you can only pull them once every 7 days. Well, what are we looking for when we pull those? And why are these reports better? So let me answer that first, then I'll talk about what we're looking for. The reason these reports are better is they give us a lot more history. Okay? So we look at a Credit Karma, it might give us just a couple years history, and there's not much detail in it. Smart Credit, Identity IQ, all that same thing. What we want is, some people call this the trended data. We want all the information about each month, as much as we can possibly get. So for June 2018, what was the balance? What was the schedule payment, the past due amount, the amount actually paid? Were we late? Were we current? And you may get that particularly with TransUnion. Now, with Equifax, it's typically a couple of years. With Experian, sometimes more, sometimes less. But the point is, we want to get as much data as we can. Because a lot of times finding the errors is you have to be really detailed and look carefully at the report, all the data. So I'll give you one example. Equifax is the only one that gives us what's called the date of first delinquency. That's the date you first went delinquent. Pretty simple, right? Date of first delinquency. It's the date. You know, there's a month and a year when we first went delinquent. So that says June 2018. And so you go look at the payment history, and Equifax gives you 7 years of payment history. And you go to June 2018, and it has a little green check mark by it. You're like, wonder what a green check mark. You go below, it has a little code that says you're on time. Well, wait a minute. How can it be the date of first delinquency if I was on time? Either I wasn't on time, and that should say like 30 days late, or the date of first delinquency is in error. And that's what I'm talking about. You want all that data to be able to compare and look and say, does this make sense? Does it not make sense? And if you limit yourself to some credit monitoring, which is not the real thing, okay? And I did a case study on this where, you know, a judge pointed out, you're suing somebody saying this is what they reported, but that's not their credit report. That's some other company that claims this is the data from Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. It's not even the real thing. You want the real thing, and the real credit reports have so much more data than everything else, okay? And it might be that you're spotting errors from, 3 years ago. Well, if it's wrong, it's wrong. If it's incomplete, it's incomplete. Doesn't matter if it's 3 days ago or 3 years ago. You have the right to dispute that through the credit bureaus. And they have to either fix it or delete it, or they get sued, potentially. So I encourage you, pull your reports, save them to PDF. If you're using your phone, not sure where I put my phone. I thought I had it right here. But if you're using your phone and you're like, I've never saved anything to a PDF from a website before, you're on Safari or Google Chrome or whatever, well, don't do your credit report as the first time. Just go somewhere else. Go to CNN, go to Fox News, MSNBC, whatever your political flavor is, and say, all right, I'm going to print something on here. How do I do that? Go on YouTube. You're on YouTube watching this. Just put in the search bar, how do I print to PDF or save to PDF from my Samsung phone, from my iPhone, from my iPad, from my Amazon Kindle tablet. I'm assuming you can do it from that. But the point is, figure this out and then go to annualcreditreport.com and just be prepared when you go to annualcreditreport.com, at least as I'm recording this right now. You'll put in all your personal information because they have to make sure this is you. And then TransUnion will usually send a text or call your cell phone, and it's an automated call that has a code. You just put the code in, boom, you get your credit report. Equifax and Experian can be a little more challenging. They'll ask you usually 4 or 5 questions. Some of the questions, are the weirdest things, like, what's the name of your dog that you took to this veterinarian 2 years ago? It's like, what in the world? Most of the time, though, it's like, 3 years ago, you lived on a street that had this word in the street name, and it's like, Rose, Jefferson, Lincoln, whatever, and then none of the above, okay? Or it will be, you opened a car loan about this date, what was your payment? $100 a month, $200 a month, $300, $400, or none of the above. And so they're just making sure this is really you, okay? And sometimes it can be frustrating, but they're trying to keep your neighbor from getting your credit report, okay? So this is a good thing. But go get those real reports from annualcreditreport.com, and that will enable you to really study it and make sure that you are finding all the errors and then challenge those errors. All right, guys, thanks for watching this, and I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.